Welcome everyone to another Age of Sigmar video where we are going to be talking about Spearhead, which is the new way to play the game in 4th edition. It is a rapid-paced version of the game where you're going to be able to finish it within a lunch hour. So we're talking like 30 to 60 minutes, which is super quick, and we'll get into kind of how they're going to achieve that because we have two different Warhammer community articles that we can look through together in order to see what this new mode is going to bring. All right, so we'll just get right into it, and we're going to take a look at this article, which is going to share, the first one that's going to share this information about Spearhead. And as we've seen, there's a lot of old box arts here from Vanguards, and in the new article that released today, they actually said that the old Vanguards will be rebranded as Spearhead. So I don't know if that means that any more that get produced will say Spearhead on them instead of Vanguard, but there'll still be some old boxes out there that will have that Vanguard tag. So what is this? This is a new game format for Warhammer Age of Sigmar where you can use self-contained existing boxes of miniatures to play fast and furious games with streamlined rules and nail-biting finishes. So there are a number of differences between the matched play games and Spearhead. Basically, there's all these rules modules in the full game that they're not present in the Spearhead version. And so the Spearhead is just going to use really basic rules. However, the war scrolls are going to have things that are similar to like spells and abilities and whatnot. And there's going to be a deck of cards that will simulate battle tactics and command points or command abilities. So we'll look into that in the second article. But for now, what does this all mean? And we got some of the new Spearhead art right here that just came out for the Citadel Sigmar and the Flesh Eater Courts. So one of the most important things about Spearhead is that it's going to be on a pretty small battlefield. So it's kind of like a Warcry game. So it's dramatically smaller than that of a full game. It's going to be played on a board measuring 30 inches by 22.4 inches. It's a quarter size of a full battlefield, and you can play it on a kitchen table or a coffee table, whatever it is. So this is a really tight arena, even for like these boxes, which could be like 500 points up to like 700 points depending on which one you get. So that's kind of interesting. When you buy the launch box for 4th edition, it's going to come with 2 complete Spearhead forces. It's going to come with a double-sided board, so there's going to be an Akshi side and then a Gyran side with printed objectives. It's going to have the pack of cards that make the game mode tick. That's the command cards that are also battle tactics cards, and then you're going to get your hardcover book and all the the information. It's going to have the rules for all the Spearheads, which they will also release to all of us online at some point as well. So the existing Vanguard and Spearhead boxes, it actually says it here in this article as well. So the all currently available Vanguard boxes will be rebranded as Spearhead boxes. So that's great. We're going to have Vanguards here. They say Vanguards right now. At some point they're going to be rebranded, and they won't say that. They'll say Spearhead instead. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of hype at the Warhammer Studios because they've played this game a lot. They mentioned that in the 4th edition announcement trailer or videos or interviews or whatever, that they've been playing this in their lunch room, and they've all been getting a ton of games, and they've made leagues. It's the most popular play tested games they've ever produced, according to Ben, product developer for Age of Sigmar. The way that this game mode is going to be balanced is going to be super interesting because there's going to be Spearhead boxes with named characters or big monsters or just more powerful models than other boxes. And so there's going to be different keywords that are going to allow us to get some parity in terms of if you're playing Cities of Sigmar and you've got a bunch of steel helms that are, kind of weaker, but then your opponent has, some stormcast and they have, Indrasta or whoever else, and it's got to be fair, right? So we have reinforcements, and the reinforcements rule is going to have certain units will have the reinforcements tag. And what this means is you can use once per turn during your movement phase the call for reinforcements ability. And it means that you can bring back units essentially. So you can set up an identical replacement unit on the battlefield, wholly within friendly territory, wholly within 6 inches of the battlefield edge, and not in combat. Okay, so you can only bring back a reinforcements tagged unit once, and the units that are come back from being reinforced, those can't be replaced themselves. So this is going to be super important. They have this little like cycle tag on them. It means that these horde armies can bring back some models. Very, very important. There's also going to be units that are forced to be held in reserves. So Indrasta's Spearhead, for example, features the God King Sigmar's Prime Hunter and some Annihilators, but they will have to use the Lightning Strike Arrival ability. It keeps them off the board until the penultimate battle round, and I believe it's 4 battle rounds. So that means on turn 3, you can bring in a big chunk of your Spearhead, and until then, you have to fight without it. So that's going to be kind of interesting here. Oh, I guess it will say in this ability here. So same thing, Lightning Strike Arrival, set up this unit anywhere on the battlefield more than 6 inches from all enemy units. And this is specific to the Spearhead for Stormcast Eternals. You can see it says Indrasta and the Annihilators unit are not set up during the deployment phase. Instead, from the 3rd battle round onwards, they can use this ability. So 4 battle rounds total in Spearhead. So this is the battle trait for the Stormcast Spearhead, which is kind of funny because it's not really like a battle trait as we know them as in terms of a buff. It's actually a balancing thing, but they're saying that each faction is going to get their own powerful and thematic battle traits, and you can choose between different regiment abilities and 4 enhancements to keep these battles fresh and customizing your forces, which is really cool. So it really is going to be a taste of the larger game in that sense, that you have some pre-game setup that you have to do. Now, the Spearhead Warscrolls are going to be slightly simplified, but designed to feel similar to Warscrolls in the full game. The battle pack doesn't use the advanced rules module, as I said, so it's not going to have advanced magic or command things that you have to memorize. They're going to be on cards. But the warriors are going to have almost the same characteristics and base weapon profiles as their full Warhammer Age of Sigmar equivalents. So that way you can get used to playing them in Spearhead first, and then you can go into the full game and you're not going to have to relearn a model that you're already using. However, their war scrolls are going to be adjusted. For instance, the clan rats below, they're going to swarm all over the Spearhead board, it says. They're going to lose the reinforcements keyword in the full game, but of course in Spearhead they're going to be able to come back one time during that game. But in the full game, they might have something like crit auto wound, which means that on a 6, they're going to automatically wound their opponent without a save roll. And so we can see that otherwise, what they're saying is in the full game, they're still going to have 6-inch move. They're still going to have 5-up save, the 1 control, the 1 health, and the Rusty Blade profile should be exactly the same, except for the crit ability that is missing in this specific war scroll for Spearhead. We have another example here with the Magister on the disc of Tzeentch, and this is going to be, again, similar stats to the full game, except it has your hero phase Bolt of Change. Now, this is going to be in the spell lore for that army in the full game, but in Spearhead, it's just contained within the Spearhead Warscroll. So very simple. People still get a taste of being able to cast, but they're not having to look up a spell lore and all this other stuff and like read how spells work. They can follow it on the Warscroll itself, which is fine. So it's a simplified version of that. Okay, so we're on to the second article. And again, they're showing some of the armies that we already kind of knew about. So this is the same Lumineth box that you can already buy right now. If you wanted to get ahead and you want to be super prepared for the Spearhead mode, you could go ahead and buy this Vanguard right here, and you will be just fine. Okay, great. So they have some other ones that they're showing off here, and they're going to talk about scoring and battle tactics and command abilities in this article. So scoring in Spearhead is simple. At the end of the turn, the player scores a victory point for holding objective, 1 for holding 2 or more, and then 1 for holding more than your opponent. And you also get 1 for each battle tactic scored. And my first thought was, why wouldn't they use the exact same scoring as the main game so they can keep it consistent? And I guess they just want to keep it smaller because you're actually going to be completing more battle tactics possibly in Spearhead than you would be in the main game. So I guess they just decided to make that distinction of scoring between the two different modes. So each player is going to get a deck of 12 cards. They're the same 12 cards, and they shuffle it up. At the start of the battle round, you will draw 3 battle tactic cards, and then every battle round after that, you can discard the 3 cards, or up to 3 of them, and you'll redraw back to 3. So you're always going to start a battle round with 3 different cards, and you can, if you don't like the ones you have, you can discard them and you can draw new ones in the next battle round. If you use up all the ones that you have, then you'll just draw up until you get to 3, and so on. So they have a little graphic to explain that. But each card is going to give you a choice between scoring a battle tactic or using a command ability at the time that is designated on the card. As soon as you use a command or score a battle tactic, that card is discarded and it's gone. The next turn you're going to draw to replace it. So there's no situation where you get to use both the battle tactic and the command ability. You have to choose one of the two. And that is really cool. Honestly, I'm really pumped for this. I think this is a really simple way to introduce both concepts, and you just kind of know that you have what you have. You're not memorizing a rule book. Although, as they say in this article, you're probably going to memorize this deck pretty quickly if you play enough Spearhead, but you're going to still get the idea of playing commands and how that's going to look, and you're certainly going to get the idea of playing battle tactics. I like that you can have 3 active at once, because if you're a newer player learning this, it's less complicated than all, like riding and dying on the one that you picked and it was the wrong one. You can't achieve it. Now it's gone for the rest of the game, whatever. Instead, you're like, okay, I've got 3 different ones I can pick from. And if you can't do them and you're really stressed out, guess what? You can discard all 3 cards or use the commands and then draw 3 new ones the next battle round and be good to go. So that's going to be just fine. Okay, so looking at the first one here, we have take the flanks. You complete this battle tactic if you have friendly units within 3 inches of every short battlefield edge, or that could be the redeploy command. We also have the Dracothian Deus, which is a battle tactic that if you control this specific named objective, which are going to be present in this mode, then you will be able to get this battle tactic. You get an extra point. But we have a new command here called Go to Ground, where if you get targeted by a shoot ability in the shooting phase, you can make it so only on unmodified rolls of 6 or crits will actually hit, and otherwise everything else misses. So it's basically take cover. They're only going to hit you on a super lucky roll, but you then have strike last that battle phase. So I think that's actually a really cool trade-off. It's like, hey, I hucked myself to the ground. I dodged all these bullets, but now I need to pick myself back up. And by the time I get into combat, I might actually be in a bad spot because someone's charged me while I was getting back up, and so on. So these are some really cool, commands that they're showing us here. We also have some other examples here. So Raid is one that lets you use this battle tactic if you have friendly units that are wholly within the enemy territory and not in combat, which is kind of seems tricky to do on such a small board, but maybe it will be easy. I don't know. And then that could alternatively be the Steel Defense command ability. Okay, so if you're attacked by an attack ability, everything's an ability, you can ignore the rend of the attacks that are coming in. That's super powerful. Like that is it's so strong. I mean, I know they said that there's going to be less rend, but we've already seen that's not true. So we also have hold ground. You complete this battle tactic at the end of the turn if there's more friendly models contesting a large terrain feature in your territory than there are enemy models contesting it. This should be a really good turn 1 battle tactic, and even later on this should be an easier battle tactic because it's your terrain and not your opponent's terrain, so that should be a gimme. But the Rise to the Challenge is a very powerful command that lets you heal a hero, which could also come in handy, especially if you have a smaller force compared to your opponent. You'll have to use that one. So we also have Twists and Underdogs, which is going to be an interesting way to balance the gameplay around keeping the game tight. And that's right. I like that. I think that's actually pretty cool. So the way that this is going to work is there's going to be an underdog. Okay. And so that's whoever's behind. And there's also going to be some mechanics around twists that will have effects for the underdog. There's another mechanic called seizing the initiative, where basically if you go second in a battle round and then you get to go first in the next battle round, you have seized the initiative. You've chosen to do that. It's not that your opponent has given you a double turn. If they give you a double turn, nothing happens. But if you seize the initiative and you are not 5 points behind in the game, you do not get battle tactics the next round. So you just don't get to pick those cards. And that's a really big deal because those are also command abilities. right? So if you've used up all of your cards from the previous turn, you don't get new ones. You can't discard the ones and grab new ones. If you haven't done them, you still have them, right? So you can still hang on to commands if you think they're really important, or like not do a battle tactic if you really want to save the command. But if you're, you know, if you're ahead, you're gonna be in a really tough spot to actually take that double turn. So otherwise, we have these twists. And so again, if you're behind by even a single point, you are the underdog, and that will affect these different twists. So there's the two different types. There's the Akshi, there's the Gairan, but the underdog for this Grasping Vines will pick an enemy unit, and if there's no underdog for these effects, they just, you know, you roll off, and then whoever wins the roll off gets to be, you know, the person that picks the effect. But basically this ensnares a unit. It has their moves and they get one fewer dice when charging, which is incredibly strong. So if something hasn't joined the combat yet, this is going to keep them out of it, even on that small board. We also have the Take the Land, which is each player scores an extra victory point at the end of the turn if they have more friendly models contesting a large, the large terrain feature in the enemy territory. And so if you're underdog, you get one wound rolls for fighting people in this objective. So basically, this twist means everybody wants to take that big objective because you score an extra point. However, the underdog has this big advantage, like a much easier time fighting on that objective. It's going to make it easier for them to actually achieve this twist than it is for the player that is ahead. So we also have the Akshi twists as well. There's one that, you know, each player scores one victory point at the end of their turn for each enemy unit destroyed. That's really, really powerful for each unit. So if you destroy 5 enemy units, which is, you know, not going to be, that's going to be a kind of an extreme example, but you get 5 points. If you are the underdog though, you also get to pick a unit to be frenzied, which has +1 to hit for combat rolls made by that unit this battle round. We also have Wreathed in Smoke, which means that the underdog picks an objective on the battlefield, and that objective is wreathed in smoke, and until the end of the turn, only unmodified hit rolls of 6 will hit for attacks that target units that are contesting that objective. So if you're behind and you know, okay, well, I need to keep this objective, I don't know, maybe you're going to put it in smoke, and it's going to be really difficult for your opponent to, you know, take your models off of there. I don't know. I really like these mechanics. I think it's really important to keep games that are designed for, you know, quick, short sessions to be fun and to be close. Especially if you're teaching somebody, they can feel really involved in it and feel like, man, that was so epic. I can't believe how close it was at the end. I like it when like short games like that, they have that kind of thing. I know some people get upset when they're like, well, if my superior skill puts me into this position and then the underdog mechanic takes me out of it, well, that's okay. That's not what this game mode is for. This game mode is about engaging people with the hobby, getting them into it. And at least that's what I think it is for, and having fun, epic games that don't take you very long. And so and you can always play without the twists if you really don't like them, or without the underdog. I don't know. You can talk to your opponent and figure that out. But I actually, in this case, I really like this mechanic. I really like how impactful seizing the initiative is going to be. Like if you take it and you don't get any points that turn because or you can get some objective points, but you don't get those battle cards. Like that's a really big deal. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. With these 2 articles coming out, I am infinitely more interested in Spearhead, whereas before I was kind of like not really too fussed about it. But now I'm pretty interested. I want to play it. I definitely want to give it a try. And I have, I have 2 Spearheads in essence. I have the Lumineth one I bought, and I have the stuff to make the cities one. So I have 2 different forces to play. I can't wait to try that out when it you know, the full rules come out and we have access to the cards and all that. But for now, we can just look forward to it, and there's going to be more news on it soon. I think they're going to preview Warscrolls and specific aspects of the mode in the coming weeks. So let's look forward to that. And otherwise, I hope you're getting pumped for Spearhead as well. And I'll see you all again soon in another video.